President Trump, before the cameras just a short time ago, he came out and said that their efforts to protect the integrity of our important election continue. And this was his quote: "If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us." We're going to fact check this in real time for you tonight, because that's not the case. We don't have any evidence of illegal votes in this country. We are witnessing an historic early vote because of the pandemic, but that was something that was predicted for many weeks leading up to this election. And so ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl watching it all tonight. What is the strategy of the Trump campaign now?
Today at the White House, the Marine Guard was at his post outside the West Wing. A sign Donald Trump was back in the Oval Office. But we haven't seen much of the president since the wee hours Wednesday morning, when he angrily and falsely declared the election was rigged.
We were getting ready for a big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off.
The reality then, and now, the votes are still being counted. Today, the president was still out of sight, calling supporters and tweeting furiously, Twitter slapping warning labels on many of his tweets. In an effort perhaps to get around that, the Trump campaign released an official statement in all caps from the president, talking about, quote, illegal votes and a stolen election. There is no evidence whatsoever of illegal votes or any kind of election fraud. But the president's children and some of his advisors fanned out to the key states still counting votes, filing lawsuits and offering conspiracy theories.
What is going on in this city? What are you hiding?
Top Republican leaders in Washington stayed mostly quiet, watching and waiting for the votes to be counted. For the president and his family, that's infuriating. As Eric Trump tweeted tonight, "Where is the GOP? Our voters will never forget."
All right, so let's bring in John Karl at the White House, because, John, we all watched that President Trump spoke just moments ago. We did a special report to the network. He sounded defiant. He also talked about legal votes versus illegal votes, and you're going to set the record straight on that. But first, let's listen to the president.
Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We'll not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter. And we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. This is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election, and we can't let that happen.
All right, John, so this is the task, the difficult task in such an important moment in this country, to fact check the president, but it's our responsibility because we are with the American people really on both sides. And I know this country feels very strongly no matter who you voted for. We're 3 days in. Everyone's trying to be calm and steady, but so far our team has not found any evidence of illegal votes. And in fact, what we're seeing is what we had predicted for weeks leading up to this election, this historic early vote that came in because we're in the middle of this pandemic in our country, and millions of Americans wanted to not only be safe in this election, to make sure their vote counted, and that's the delay that we're seeing.
Absolutely, and David, it's important to have the time to count votes in states where Donald Trump is behind right now, in Arizona and Nevada, counting that may in fact help him flip those states potentially. But it's also important to count votes in states where he is ahead and may go in the other direction. And the president's strategy at this point seems to be to accept results in states he won or is winning, and to challenge and question results in states he is losing. And again, the point you just said is the critical one here. There is no evidence that has been presented whatsoever to back up the wild and unfounded allegations that the president just made in the White House briefing room.
Stick with us here, John, because again, this delay, I know Americans aren't used to this, but this has been an extraordinary year really in every way as we live through this pandemic. 2020, we will always remember this year. But this delay in any results for the presidential election has to do with this pandemic and this massive early vote. But these are all legal votes that are now being counted. And one other phenomenon that had been predicted going into this election, John, that we saw play out was a sea of red on election night, because it was believed that in-person voting on election day would benefit, at least early on, the president, that there would be a large Republican turnout. And the president had a significant turnout on Election Day. The numbers are extraordinary, really, for both campaigns. And then we knew that as these early votes, which often tend to be Democratic or from urban areas would then allow Joe Biden to slowly start catching up. And we've seen that play out in a number of these key battlegrounds. And that's what the president is watching as well.
Well, and in fact, it's been called the red mirage. There was also, in some states, a blue mirage where you had the reverse, where the early vote was counted first. In those states, it looked like Joe Biden was doing better than he ended up doing. There was a time where it looked like Joe Biden was going to win Ohio. He was way ahead in the count. And then they were counting the votes that came in on Election Day, and Biden lost Ohio considerably. Then the reverse you see happening, a reverse process in a state like Pennsylvania, which didn't even start counting those mail-in votes until Election Day. It takes time, David, and we all knew it. The president knew it. His team knew it.
And that's an excellent point, John, because early in the night, it looked like Joe Biden was doing very well in Ohio, but then because they did the early vote right away and then got to the day of vote, and then the Republicans caught up, and the president won in Ohio, as he pointed out in his briefing just moments ago. But again, it's the electoral map, and we've got to go state by state here. Jon Karl with us again tonight. John, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.